Let's talk about the worst scene in season 2 of The Wheel of Time and why it totally destroys the whole season. We'll pay close attention to the creative choices made by the show versus Jordan and ask which one is better and why. Jordan opens the Great Hunt in an old castle full of scheming dark friends. It's an epic gathering of 100 villains, all disguised from each other in various configurations of pitch black robes and masks. It's also fraught with delicious tensions and intriguing paradoxes. The fire is said to be blazing, but the room is cold. There are beautiful youths draped in white, but their eyes are black as death. By stark contrast in the show, and in this scene we only see a very small gathering around a nondescript table. It's not epic. The world is already smaller than that of Robert Jordan's prologue. It's a disappointing start. Jordan gives us the perfect guide to this ghoulish black mask. He's none other than the man who calls himself Bors. He's already intriguing because we don't know his true name, and yet we must rely on him to tell us what's going on in the meeting. We are forced into a pact with a villain who we can't entirely trust and who is already withholding information from us. So Jordan has created another level of masterful tension in addition to the intrigue between us and the narrator. There's another really important thing. It's an interrogation. By its very nature, it's full of tension and suspense. Bors wheels around the party verbally unmasking various dark friends. It's a fun game, unmasking those who are disguised and clearly up to no good. By contrast, we don't have a singular companion for the opening of the show, and that creates a huge problem. It's split between the young girl and Ba Alazaman, or as I like to call him, Blah Alazaman, aka Ishamael. Let's start with the girl. In place of a freewheeling interrogation, we have the briefest glimpse of a small gathering and some chit-chat about Rand al'Thor. And anyways, it's immediately interrupted by the girl who rushes in and crawls under a table, supplying us quick glimpses of different styles of dress. The biggest problem here is that we are simply being given basic insights into who is at this gathering. The interrogation from the book is thrilling because at least one person, the man who calls himself Bors, is acquiring leverage with each passing observation, leverage which he might use to deadly effect. The show is simply relaying basic information about where those in attendance are from. No one is gaining or losing anything. It's a terrible failure on the show's path to create drama and intrigue, which was the spirit of Jordan's preface, if not art and storytelling generally. Ishamael peers under the table and we are handed off to his point of view. This Ishamael isn't scary at all. From this perspective, he's comical. His dialogue is of the playful, comic variety, which is at odds with the dark atmosphere and gathering of villains. It's undermining the show's own attempt to create a dark ambience. So neither the girl nor Ishamael create tension or excitement. One gives us simple information and the other undermines the scene entirely. This isn't a great start. In the book, we are surprised with the appearance of a terrible villain. Trollocs and Fades quiver at his arrival. The dark friends in the room are overcome with fear. Our companion's head is about to split apart. And then the air shimmers above the gathering, and a horrifying figure in blood red appears floating above everyone in the room. It's Ba Alazaman. In the show, the surprise guest is this little girl. With her appearance, the show immediately veers into the comic and creates absurd questions. What is the child doing at the meeting of a dark council? Wouldn't this kind of thing be a secret? How did she get here? Why would the child's mother bring her to a place where others are obviously looking to find leverage over their peers to further increase their own power? She crawls under the table and identifies a lady as her mom. Her mom, by the way, doesn't even bother to look down beneath the table. This is also ridiculous. In the books, not only are we treated to the surprise showing of Ba Alazaman, Jordan shares a huge and terrifying reveal with us. The narrator, who trusts no one, is a high-ranking member of the White Cloaks, the Children of the Light. The Children of the Light are at this point to us readers the most trusted, honest, an upright group in the land. Sure, they're zealots, but they're beyond reproach. Yet now, we know that they have a particularly cunning and deadly dark friend in their ranks. While the gathering shows the breadth of the Dark One's influence, this reveal shows just how sinister and just how deep he's been able to corrupt the world already. It leaves us with a terrifying question. If a high-ranking member of the Children of the Light has already been corrupted, does Rand really stand a chance? The show doesn't have a payoff for us. There is no big reveal. Rather, the big reveal is that the show doesn't understand itself, doesn't understand what it's about or the major media that has come before it. The show asks a belabored question of perspectivism. What does it mean to be a monster? Is it nothing more than a matter of perspective of where you stand? The Wheel of Time is an awkward locus to explore these notions when it so unabashedly draws a clear line between heavy metaphysical concepts like good and evil. Additionally, this is ground where Game of Thrones has already tread. It's a significant problem for this season, and it confounds its identity as a show. The Wheel of Time is not Game of Thrones. The writers don't seem to understand that. In a last act of desperation, it tries to shock us with cheap spectacle. A man holds a child in front of a monster. But here again, the Wheel of Time has subverted itself. The child is not in any danger at all. The show has already revealed that much to us. We know the child isn't in any danger because the man has already posed and answered a question which implies there is no good and evil, only perspective. If that's the prevailing morality, then we know that even when standing in front of a monster, it's not a monster, therefore, it's not dangerous. This can only conclude in an underwhelming moment. The child pets the monster, who is not a monster and therefore not dangerous, and we are left with nothing. Now, Robert Jordan knew one thing to be true. The beginning is the most important. If the beginning isn't incredible, it's awful. In just a few pages, Robert Jordan is able to create suspense, dread, and two incredible surprises. It sets the book off on a powerful trajectory. By contrast, the show opens flat with a boring conversation, a clumsily inserted nonsensical interruption, an uninteresting villain, and an outdated philosophical question fundamentally at odds with its material and universe. It's ruinous, confounding, contrary to the lore, but perhaps above all, it's just not interesting.